This is the 24th episode of the Miles Pod, and I want to dedicate this particular episode to Kobe and say, with all due respect, and because there's such a pain and a deep sadness for what happened to him and his family and the kids and parents that were with him, deep down inside of me, I somehow hope that this is all a big hoax and conspiracy, and Kobe knew that in order for his greatness to be larger than life and to not be eclipsed by LeBron, he had to do something drastic. And we all know that Kobe is super drastic, and there was like this pact that they all signed where the only way to make this believable is if they had a trained pilot and if they had a group of people with them and it wasn't just him. And they weren't going to let Kobe just disappear by himself. He needs some company. And I know this sounds disrespectful and insensitive, but it's because deep down, I just pray that he's still alive, that this actually didn't happen to him. This is the closest I think that America has been to losing a superhero. Like if there were actual superheroes, if there were people that everyone knew that served our country in the military, and everyone was just rooting for this one guy, and all of a sudden he goes and he dies, the whole nation would be in mourning. I mean, for me, this is the first time that I wept for someone that wasn't connected to my family, but I felt it in my spirit. I felt like a global mourning, which is why in my heart of hearts, it's real. It's a real tragedy that happened. But there's an inkling of, God, I wish this was just another conspiracy, like Tupac and Biggie, but this one is different. This one is so tragic because it involved his daughter. And he set such a standard of what it meant to be a girl dad and what it meant to be a man and strive for excellence. And we see that. And I think that's why his footage continues to go viral, and I see Kobe clips every day. But in the back of my mind, as a person who writes stories and as a writer, you can't help but think, man, gosh, is he pumping the content? Is he secretly doing deals with Nike behind, backstage? And because I just constantly see Kobe stuff. So it makes me wonder, God, I hope he's still alive. The Lakers are the scariest team in basketball right now. They are playing a brand of basketball that is LeBron James's legacy. The positionless basketball. The stuff I've been hearing about since I was in middle school and high school is this theory that everyone who plays the game of basketball should be able to play every position. Now, there are a few players that can actually do it, and LeBron is one of them. But to see 5 or 6 different guys on that squad being the leading scorer or hitting key shots or getting key defensive plays, playing both sides of the court, defense and offense, it's unbelievable to watch. We saw Rui come out of nowhere and close out people and lead the game in scoring. We've seen Anthony Davis dominate and have 30 and 20. Of course, LeBron. We've seen D'Lo come down the stretch and in the fourth quarter close out games. And then in this last game, Lonnie Walker, who hasn't played out of the rotation, comes in and picks up where he left off against the championship defending Golden State Warriors, took the game over single-handedly. You don't know what you're up against every night. You don't know who's going to come and light you up. Who's coming off the bench and being the leading scorer? That's a nightmare defensively. Just trying to guard LeBron and AD is a nightmare. So yes, I got Denver versus the Sixers in the NBA Finals. But my X factor take and prediction is the Lakers going all the way and winning the NBA championship. And now there's actually footage that's circulating that's going viral of the Lakers playing defense. Steve Pemberton, a prominent motivational speaker, author, corporate executive, has an amazing book called The Lighthouse Effect. He posted this on his Twitter, and he shows the Lakers adjusting to the Golden State Warriors. And then there's a clip of Golden State running the same exact play back in the 2016 finals. Back in the 2016 finals, they ran the same play, and we see LeBron and Cleveland trying to cover this play, and they fail. It goes to Clay in the corner. He shoots a three, bucket. They run the same play the other night, and LeBron instructs everyone to switch, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch, and what ends up happening is Draymond drives to the basket, and he's expecting Clay to be open in the corner this time because this is a play that they run, and they cut him off. AD turns around after the switch, grabs the ball, done, turnover. Giannis Antetokounmpo needs to get out of Milwaukee. Get out while you can. You should have went to Miami when you had the chance. I get that you're a loyal guy, and loyalty has brought you a long way. But when it comes to the NBA, and you see a franchise not doing what is necessary to keep you the NBA champions, do you get the hint? You won a championship with the Bucks. Fantastic. Wonderful. Time to move on, man. Or you're going to be stuck there getting this team to the number 1 seed all on your own effort. And then watching all of your efforts explode in your face because you guys, the organization, doesn't have the gall to go get another piece. If you're going to stay with the same team, then make Middleton the number 1 option, which will look crazy to everybody else. But if you can get him to believe that he's a Dame type player, the Bucks are much better. In fact, when he's performed, they win. When Giannis has to go out there and score 50 points and have 25 rebounds, they barely win or they lose. When he has to put the team on his back. Another thing is I think a lot of those guys on that team just didn't want it. They feel like, hey, we won the championship before, we're good. We don't want to continue to build your legacy because if you win another one, we're just going to be the pieces that helped you win. It's going to be all about Giannis. Giannis, who's making $300 million over 2 years, right? Don't think jealousy doesn't exist in the NBA. Don't think that players don't personally tank because they don't want to contribute to some other guy's legacy. That's why what's going on in Sacramento was so special. The buy-in of everybody to turn that season around and say, it's not about me, it's about the team, and to truly believe it. That's what the Bucks needed to do, and they didn't do it. So, final warning to Giannis, get out of Milwaukee. Ja has one of the most incredible defensive plays I've ever seen before in my life. It looks like footage from that tribe. I forgot what tribe, I think it's South Sudan or something, where these guys are jumping up and down. He does one of those. His face is completely, his back is completely to the player who's tossing his ball. And he jumps up, turns around, and catches it as if he has eyes in the back of his head. His playmaking ability is incredible, but it's reckless. He does some things that are Jordan-esque when he's in the air, but he's reckless. He has the ability to be one of the strongest leaders in the league, but he's reckless. And so he has to make a choice. Yeah, you're young. Yeah, you're going to do dumb stuff. Yeah, you're going to go to the club, but you're a professional. This is a job. This isn't after school 21. This is the NBA. This is your chance. Look at Victor Oladipo. Look at the tragedy that happened to him. How many times he's had to come back from injury. You want to see some bounce? You go look at Victor in college and see what he did and what he could do and everything that he had to overcome to get to the position that he's in, and to see what's happening to him now. You want that to be you? You're not owed anything. There's a million people trying to take your spot. So my hope is that Ja Morant truly turns it around and becomes what everybody else sees in him, which is absolute greatness, Jordan-esque nature. A leader like we've never seen before on both ends of the court, doing the impossible day in and day out, changing the whole landscape of Memphis and being the most important thing in that town over Elvis. The most engaged fan of the pod is my man, Jason Anderson, and he has a wonderful question or topic that he wants to bring up, and that's Team Light Skin. Does that exist? Which is hilarious. And I think within the Black community, we can talk about these things. Is there such a thing as Team Light Skin? Does it exist in people's subconscious minds? Does it differentiate? Does it bring favor still? In the game of basketball, does it have certain predestinations for certain abilities by being light-skinned? And let me tell you a quick story. When I was in high school, I was talking to a teammate's dad who was also half white, half black, like me. And he said the most ridiculous things. And he was dead serious. He said, my son, he's amazing. He's intelligent. He works hard. He's got a lot of skill. But because he's half white, he's not as athletic. And I thought that was just ridiculous. Absolutely. Now look at the league. Like the top 3 dunkers in the league, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Larry Nance Jr., and all those guys are light skinned. And I think when Steph Curry was unanimous MVP, I remember players saying subconsciously they were jealous of him, and it was because he was light-skinned that he got all this favor. And the NBA was rooting for him secretly because he isn't dark-skinned. And I thought that it was, yeah, it's there. It's in the back of people's minds. It exists. And I think that when you start to see these brothers excel, there is a little bit in the back of your mind saying, kind of rooting for him. Like, yeah, we belong in this league. We can hang. We got hang time. Look at Devin Booker. Look at Jason Tatum. Like, these are the leading candidates for Team Light Skin. I mean, Curry going down as the greatest point guard of all time. He's going to be in this discussion between him and Magic for like the next decade. May not even be a discussion if these playoffs turn out any different. But add in Victor Wembanyama, and we really have a nice starting five for Team Light Skin. All right? So yes, Jason, I think in the back of folks' mind, there is such a thing as a Team Light Skin, and people do kind of see those shades. And I have to say that Kanye West set us back with that one line and make light skin never, never, never come back in style. That line alone set us back. So look who Ime Udoka ends up getting hired. Look, he got hired as the head coach of the Houston Rockets. The picture is him and the owner shaking hands, saying, "Welcome to the Rockets." We don't care about that scandal that actually didn't happen. Come on over here. My family owns a boatload of casinos. If you get in trouble gambling, guess what? We don't care, because we're going to use that to our benefit. If you go back and look at the Celtics and see how they gave up, I think it was game 3 against the Warriors. He pulled out the starters for a whole quarter in the NBA Finals. Who does that? You could win any game every single game in the finals counts. It doesn't matter if you're down by 20 with a whole quarter left. You know how many teams have come back from 30, down 30 in a single quarter, and you take out your starters? That smells a little fishy. So instead of holding you accountable, the Celtics put together this story and ran with it. They can never reveal that you were part of some heinous gambling and they covered it up and the whole organization's a part of it and it's intricated and it's involving this executive and that. They can't do that. But you could be the fallout guy for something else. So that's why your partner comes out and says, you know, the best revenge is not getting revenge at all. Because there's no revenge to be taken. Nia Long doesn't want to be part of the garbage, the show anymore. That's the reason why she's not getting revenge. There's no revenge needed because none of that happened. And this is my big conspiracy theory, so you could take it or leave it. But it looks fishy to me. The fact that the Celtics released these statements and they were so intentional about painting this picture of him being this sexual violator. And he still maintains his eligibility. He's still hireable around the league. And the one team that gives him a shot is the Houston Rockets, who are tied. The owner is tied. His family owns casinos. Let's face it, folks. They embrace gambling because the NBA could not stop it. The only way to stop it is to become it. And we are seeing players talk about it day in and day out. In fact, I know for a fact that most NBA teams on their personal websites within their organizations have statements regarding them being opposed to gambling. Now, why would that be on your internal company website on the front page if it wasn't an issue and if it wasn't plaguing your organization? So I don't think Udoka is some crazy sex fiend who you can't trust around your wife. I don't believe that at all. That fits the common stereotype among successful, strong black men that they would like to feed into, that makes sense to all the other peons out there who believe that stuff. I think it was gambling. Many relationships that you see on the red carpet in Hollywood, especially among influencers and celebrities, is fabricated. Meaning their publicists, their agents get together and they decide, is this going to be a good career move? And it's crazy to ingest. It's crazy to contemplate that some of your favorite people are not actually in a valid relationship. But this is their business. Them pretending is what rewards them. And if you can manufacture the right pieces together, it can lead to astronomical gains and success. And if both people understand this, then they are a force to be reckoned with. Who's infamous for this? The Kardashians, the Kanyes, the Will Smiths. They understand this. Other celebrities, musicians, them getting caught taking pictures together, on vacation together. How do they know that those celebrities are there? Somebody calls them and says, hey, Kim K is over at this place. It's their people making these calls, making sure that they get captured in public in their new relationship. All for eyeballs, all for attention, all to, again, illustrate a compelling narrative. So kudos to them if everything about their relationship is sincere. I'm just saying, as a man, it would be stomach to essentially be in a relationship with my former aunt, which I'm sure at that time in the 90s, Jordan and Pippen, their kids are seen looking at each other as family. So it's hard to look up at my uncle and be like, hey, Unc, I'm with your ex. But in the end, Pippen has much to gain from this. His name is being mentioned. Larsa has a lot to gain from this. Michael Jordan has a lot to gain from this because it just creates this crazy, compelling story about what's going on in the family. The Jordan name is being spoken of in the press. This is great for Marcus. He's starting to etch out his greatness, how amazing he is as an entrepreneur. The things that he sees and likes in a relationship that make him unique and interesting, that this young man can satisfy this kind of woman and eclipse the lasting impression of her former relationships and be the apple of her eye. This is good for all of them, but just don't be surprised if it's manufactured. Okay, you want to hear something crazy? So I reached out to my brother, who's the president of SIC Omaha, financial advising company, the best in business in Omaha, working with new money clients, millennial clients, Gen Z clients that are creating a startup ecosystem in Omaha. You know, the doctors, lawyers, engineers. These are his clients. I said, hey, bro, what's going on with Disney? Like, what's the whole thing with Disney and DeSantis? Because I'm interested in maybe buying some Disney stock, but I'm kind of worried. And he says, look, Miles, you got to look deeper than that, man. He said, do you understand that it is completely plausible that there were some high-profile people that have ascribed a task to DeSantis to lower the Disney stock? And I go, how is that possible? Well, I mean, what could he possibly do? And he said, think about it. How many times have you seen Disney in the headlines about some issue that they're having with the state of Florida? Whether it be them losing their special licensing or them being completely enthralled in politics instead of making money. Those type of stories tell investors that Disney isn't a safe company, that they're going to lose money, that they're not interested in money. And if he's successful in getting that price to dip, those high-profile people are very happy because they got in at a price lower than what anybody else could have expected. So they could be shorting the stock or trying to find a more favorable buy-in price. So look deeper next time. Things aren't always what they seem. Did you know that penguins actually have a dark side? Like, they're cute and cuddly, but these things have a very deadly and nasty secret. They can actually shoot their poop like a missile. I mean, they shoot it out of there like a Lockheed Martin missile. They're so cute and cuddly, but they're actually gross to the point where they needed to do research on this. And it was really tough because penguins are protected, so you can't get too close to them. So the way they actually had to study this thing and figure out how they're able to do this was they studied the 3 muscles near their rectum. And then they studied the arc patterns and projectile distances of their defecation. I mean, there's an official title for this kind of study, all right? I think it's like avian defecation. And if you watch this video on the BBC of a nest and see the activity, this is the stuff they didn't show you in Marching with Penguins with Werner Herzog. They didn't show this. If you look at the bird's eye view of this nest of hundreds of penguins, it looks like an absolute killing field. It looks like a crime scene. So disgusting. It literally looks like a crime scene because these things are just shoo, 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 projectile poop. And if they said it's like humans being able to shoot their poop 10 feet, that's the capability that the cute, cuddly penguins have. In fact, after they did their research on this stuff, they won a Nobel Prize on this stuff. On penguin poop. It's crazy. So be careful. So you work at a zoo and you have to attend to the penguin exhibit. Be careful, or you could have some facializing of poop on your face. Watch the video and you'll see just the penguins just taking it. And they're sitting all around each other and getting shot in the face with defecating in each other's face. And they just shake it off and they just keep going. It's repulsive. I mean, it is like looking at, I think they are the pigs of birds, because they're just defecating all over each other. So I wouldn't hug one of these things. I wouldn't even get close. I think that's why they're protected, because nobody wants to get pooped on by a penguin. Customer service matters. That's why the barbershop has the worst customer service business model on the face of the planet. I hate having to go to the barbershop because it is like walking in and everybody is a Grammy Award winning rapper, or everybody is scoring triple doubles a game. It's like these guys think that they are NBA players, or they think that they're Grammy Award winning rappers. It's so intimidating. You walk in, nobody greets you. People just come in and take your spot because they supposedly have an appointment. Yeah, right. You have to be so aggressive just to get serviced. Now, then on top of it, you're only open for like 2 hours during the week. So you force everybody to come in on the weekend. And then if you try to get it done before all the traffic comes on the weekend, you give people 2 hours to get to your shop. I work 9 to 5 and you're only open till 7. I got kids to pick up. Well, one kid. I have a kid to pick up, speaking as if I'm other dads out there. Then you got dinner. You got to make sure everything's settled in the house before you can actually get to yourself. And by that time, it's like 6:50. No one's going to take you 10 minutes to go to 7. It is the worst business model ever. And it's so just full of stress and tension. And it's this, man, I have to be so machismo just to have a decent experience. And guess what? I'm going to pay $50 to $60 for this haircut. Now, I'm not going to be like other athletes, let's say Patrick Beverly, and complain about getting a $200 come to me haircut. That's ridiculous. You can afford $200, especially if a guy's coming to you. But I got to go to your barbershop, feel like garbage for walking into your establishment because you have no customer service skills whatsoever, pay you $50 plus a $10 tip, and be so thankful that you were able to just squeeze me in so that I look decent. How about this? Here's a concept. I will personally finance a barbershop that actually provides you with a relaxing scalp massage, shave, wash, lines up your beard, gives you a nice little facial, great stuff for your skin, maybe add in a foot and hand massage, and then styles your hair. And I will gladly, if I'm a consumer, I will gladly pay $100 for that service. When I walk in, I'm greeted. That person should know my name after the first time that I arrived there and follow up with me and say, hey, did you have a great experience? Anything else we could do better? Man, we'd love to see you back at the shop next time you need to get tightened up or lined up. Come back in. We'd love to see you again. Makes you feel warm, welcome, like you're wanted there. Not like I'm bothering you, bro. I'm paying you. I'm not bothering you. You are not an athlete, not a rapper. I will give you this. Barbers are, I consider them to be artists. The precision, the vision that they have, the hand-eye coordination. But what's not amazing is that you have the worst customer service skills on the face of the planet. And everybody knows it. Don't try and stand up for these guys. I'm sure you know people. I know people too. That's why people would prefer to just go to their barber that they know through a friend or in the family. They'd rather just go to their house and get a haircut. That's how bad the customer service is at your standard barbershop. Oh, you don't have an appointment? Oh, let me see if anybody can take walk-ins. Are you kidding me? Are you really? Really? Nobody can fit me in. They got such a tight haircut schedule. I can't just walk in and get serviced? It is the most frustrating to hear these millionaires and billionaires complain about their servers at Chili or not enough servers being at their little restaurant hangouts, and how they're somehow responsible for the reason why the economy is the way it is. And they're saying, oh, they've hacked unemployment, they don't want to work. And the truth is, no. They don't want to work because they don't want to be anybody's slave. They don't want to do meaningless tasks and not be appreciated or given something of value other than your $3 an hour and whatever tips they can squeeze out of people. If Buffalo Wild Wings, for example, let you work as much as you want, or a privately owned upscale steakhouse, right, let's say it's RPM Steak, wants to offer you a minuscule, not a lot, a minuscule amount of equity to its workers, what do you think is going to happen if you have those two options? The restaurant server position, working in the kitchen, is going to be the hottest job on the market, but they're unwilling to give up anything. And these are restaurants that are owned by large corporations and large privately held groups. So the greed factor is the reason why you're not getting an ample amount of servers at the restaurants that you enjoy. So going back to my Buffalo Wild Wings example, if you simply turned in a schedule a month in advance that showed exactly how many hours you wanted to work, do you think anybody would really quit Buffalo Wild Wings if when they actually wanted to live life, take off from work, and enjoy the simple things, that they had that option? Do you really think that they would quit? This is the reason why Uber exists. As bad as the business model is for drivers and other gig economy jobs, this whole billion-dollar industry is successful because it gives people the option to work when they want to work. Now, when you have a schedule of a bunch of people who are probably going to work part-time anyway, because they're doing other things with their life other than serving food, you have no issues with overtime. You have no issues with retraining people. And I began to see Target experiment with this model. As long as you do a certain amount of hours every 6 months, you're still hired on. You work as much as you want. Then, when they have their busy seasons, guess what? They have ample staff. So why aren't restaurants adopting this model? Why do you continue to blame people for not wanting to work at your restaurant that isn't giving them anything? Give up some equity. Stop expecting people to work your restaurant as if they own it when they don't. You have an incentive for working hard in your establishment because you have equity. But some 21, 22, 18-year-old college kid doesn't have the same motive as you do because you're grinding them 10, 12, 14 hours because you don't have any staff and you're not willing to compensate them fairly. Give them some equity. Give them a little distribution every quarter. And they will go out and advertise your restaurant, your establishment for free. They will be the most powerful marketing force that you have. You will spend zero on marketing if you implement this. You'll never have overtime issues. You won't have to spend any money training people. Have them submit a schedule a month in advance and have a few selected people as volunteers. Trust me, when people need cash, they're going to add more hours and it's going to be competitive. So then what happens? People aren't going to be as liberal calling off. They're not going to be as liberal putting in little hours because they know how competitive it's going to be. The working whenever you want model is the whole reason, again, why Uber, DoorDash exists. You can no longer enslave us. Millennials, Gen Zers can't enslave us to these petty jobs no more. And the reason why they're petty is because you don't instill enough value and enough freedom. Please. Dads, stop spanking your kids. Show that you have some emotional maturity and some effing patience. Some of you treat your damn pets better than you do your kids. The first rebuttals, and I'm already hearing this through your phone. Well, I spanked my kids and they turned out fine. Or I don't know, this is how I do things and my kids they're still good. Okay, What if I told you that a different approach would get you the same results without the awful feeling that you get and your child gets from the spanking? Like I said, I'm not perfect. I've crossed that threshold. I've crossed the line. But that doesn't mean you can't repair the parent-child relationship at any time. You can actually repair your parent-child relationship at any age. I just don't see you getting hit upside your head at 18, 19, 20, 25, 35. And that would actually be the appropriate time to do that because you're an adult and you could withstand that kind of force and that treatment and survive and be perfectly fine. So why would you think that 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old is an appropriate time? Why is it appropriate for you to stop hitting your kids when they're adults, but appropriate to hit them when they're vulnerable, ill-equipped, don't have the skills, weaker, more helpless? I think a lot of people would have their parents arrested or sued if they tried to be physically aggressive with them as an adult. So, bottom line, try something new. Try a different technique. Try a more effective approach. And it's going to be hard because you watched your parents do it one way and you're frustrated. Dude, get yourself under control. Control your emotions. They don't have the capabilities yet. They're learning how to do that. They have more feeble minds. You can't expect them to behave like a Marine and listen and do everything you say and jump when you say jump. They're kids. They push boundaries. They say things that they don't have any clue what they're saying. Try something else. Aren't you tired of feeling like garbage after you have to discipline your kid physically? I'm sure you have your own memories of when your parents got crazy on you. And if they tried to do that to you as an adult, yeah, it wouldn't be good. So why are you doing it to your 3-year-old? Tell your kids that you love them over and over and over again. Kids need constant positive affirmation. My daughter would always ask me, Dad, do you love me? Do you love me? And it would happen like 3 or 4 times a day. And I'm like, why does this kid keep asking me this? Of course, does she not see everything that I do? Does she not see that we do everything for her as her parents, as her father? Does she not see me doing these more effective approaches? Yes, but children need that affirmation over and over again so that they feel safe and secure. So now, throughout the day, I just say it. Nothing has to happen. I'll just come up to her and be like, I love you. I love you. I love you. And guess what? She doesn't ask me that anymore. She doesn't have to tell me, oh, Dad, do you love me? Because I tell her more than she probably prefers that I love her. I hope you can hear the joy in my voice. That's the experience that you should be having with your kids. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be difficult, hard, but the hard part should be controlling yourself. It shouldn't be controlling them. They will eventually do what you say. They will adopt the behavior that you exhibited. They will become better citizens, better people as they develop, grow, and be nurtured. Okay? Don't devastate the seed, the sprout that is in the ground right now by banging it over the head with a shovel. Okay? for that seed, that sprout to keep growing, you have to nurture it no matter what the conditions are around it or around you. So if you're treating plants and animals with this utmost kindness, this angelic approach, please allocate that to your kids too. Rub my feet when I get home, because according to a study out of Japan, it showed that women who indulged their husbands in some form of sensual touch, coitus, right? They engaged each other, became those men who got the good loving were more productive the more consistent their bedroom performance was. So the more that these married couples were connecting, the more their men went out there and became higher performing. Isn't that crazy? So if you have a husband who's broke, you have the answer now. If you have a husband who's not doing what he's supposed to do, then you know what you need to start initializing. If you want the surprise trips to Cabo and the house cleaner, and you want me doing the Mr. Clean dance, all right, he's going to fill your love tank if you fill his. Here's the answer to everything that you want. You wanted the 400K man, the top 1%? Here's the answer. So rub my stank crusted corn chip buttery feet.